Hello and welcome to Lantern Lane Stories. Tonight's story is Marina's Golden Pan, How Paella Found Its Heart. The sun rose early over Albufera Lake in Valencia. Marina stood between endless rows of tall rice stalks. Her father bent low, knife flashing in the light around them. A dozen farmers moved like dancers. They had been cutting rice since before sunrise. Sweat dripped down their brown arms, dark as river water. The air smelled green, wet, and heavy with heat. Marina's belly made a small, hungry sound. "How much longer, Papa?" she asked, kneeling beside him. "The sun is high. My feet are tired." Her father stopped and straightened his back. He looked across the fields, so much rice still waiting. 2 hours more, he said softly. "Maybe 3, Marina sighed. But she said nothing. She knew that the rice would not cut itself. These fields fed her family and her father's sister and the village beyond. That was bigger than a tired girl's stomach. By the time the sun reached the middle of the sky, Marina's father put down his knife. "Now we eat," he said. "Come, help me." From the old wooden cart, he pulled a wide, shallow pan. It was round and flat and dark, like a piece of the earth itself. Marina's mother had sent it with them that morning. In the Valencian language, they called it a paella. That word simply meant pan, nothing more. Just a pan. "Marina, you see this?" her father asked. "This pan is not for fancy cooking. It is for honest cooking." He gathered dry sticks and branches from the cart. With Marina's help, he built a small fire, safe from the dry grass. The flames grew orange and yellow alive. Heat shimmered up in wavy lines. "Now," he said, "now we do something special." Marina ran to the canal between the fields. The water was cool, tasting of earth and growing things. She filled the large earthen pot, careful not to spill. Back at the fire, her father poured the waters slowly into the flat pan. It hissed and steamed, urgent and alive. From a cloth bag came onions, white and sharp smelling. His knife flashed, chop, 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 quick and short. The pieces fell into the hot water. Then came garlic, cut thin as paper. The smell rose up, golden and powerful. "See how the smell travels?" her father said, watching the smoke rise. "This is how we cook together, daughter. The smell is an invitation." Marina nodded, not quite understanding, but listening. Next came tomatoes, red as a child's cheek. From a leather pouch, her father took the rabbit. It was already cooked that morning, tender and dark. Her uncle had hunted it 3 days before. "The rabbit gives us strength," her father said, placing it in the pan. The meat sizzled, and new smells rose, rich, warm, alive. Then came the beans, soaked since dawn, flat, pale beans that her mother had dried the summer before. Her father sprinkled them into the pan like small blessings. "The rice is last," he said, taking a bowl from the cart. The grains were white and clean, ready to drink the water, and the flavors, in went the rice, each grain tumbling, spreading slowly. But before he covered the pan, he did something Marina had never seen. From the deepest pocket of his shirt came a small cloth. Inside it lay only 4 thin threads, each one the color of sunset. "Saffron," her father whispered. "Precious saffron from Persia." He sprinkled just 3 threads over the rice. "Only once a year," he said. "Only on a day like this." While the pan bubbled and hissed and sang, something began to happen. The smell, rich, warm, golden, began to travel. It drifted across the empty space between the rows. It found the farmer to the left, a man named Jorge. He stopped his work, knife paused mid-swing. The smell found the woman to the right, old Rosa with the silver hair. She turned, her nose lifting like a bird sensing wind. One by one, the farmers stopped what they were doing. One by one, they turned to look at the small fire in the middle of the field. "What is that?" a young boy called out, maybe 12 years old. "I do not know," said Rosa, walking closer, "but I want to know." Soon there were 6 of them standing in a circle around Marina's father. Soon there were 9. Soon there were 12. Soon, every person who was working in those fields heard that smell and came. It was as if invisible fingers had reached out and pulled them gently toward the pan. Soon, "Friend," said Jorge, tall and brown from decades of sun, "what do you cook?" Marina's father smiled. He had been waiting for them. "I cook what we have," he said simply. "I cook what the fields give us." Rice, water, the rabbit, these beans, a little saffron that I saved from my wedding day. And something else, added old Rosa, peering at the pan, something I cannot name. "Ah," said Marina's father, "that is the saffron working. That is the rabbit singing. That is the beans remembering the sun and rain. That," he said, looking at each face, "is what happens when we cook with respect." Marina's father found a flat stick for each person. He broke them into small pieces that could carry rice without tearing it. He did not use fancy spoons or dishes. There was no need. The pan itself was the plate, the table, the center of everything. "Help yourselves," he said, stepping back. "There is enough. The pan knows." Old Rosa approached first. She reached down and took a piece of stick. She brought it back with rice, beans, pieces of rabbit, all steaming. When she put it in her mouth, her eyes closed. "Heaven," she said, so quietly that only Marina heard. "I taste heaven." Young Jorge went next, then the boy, then a woman Marina did not know. One by one they came. One by one they tasted. And as they tasted, something strange happened. They began to talk. Not about the work. Not about the heat or their aching bodies. Not about the rice or the money they would be paid. They talked about their mother's lullabies. They talked about the first kiss, and the child they hoped for, and the day they almost drowned. They talked about the winter that had been too cold, and the summer that had been too dry. They talked about joy and sorrow and small kindnesses. The rice and rabbit seemed to unlock their hearts. It was as if they had all been waiting for permission to speak about something true. By the time the pan was nearly empty, they were laughing. One man had told a joke that made everyone groan. Another had shared a song so old that no one remembered who wrote it. Rosa had told a story about when she was young and brave, before her back bent forward. And through it all, they kept eating, kept sharing, kept coming back to that one golden pan. When the last grain of rice was gone, they sat in a circle, tired and warm. The sun was lower now, casting long shadows across the field. "We must rest soon," Marina's father said. "The harvest will not wait." "Wait," said Rosa, her voice careful. "Before you go, tell us, will you make this again?" "Yes," said her father, "every day if I could." "Then we will help," said Jorge. "We will bring the rabbit. We will bring the beans. We will bring everything. And you will teach us?" asked the young boy. Marina's father nodded. "I will teach you, but there is not much to teach. There is only respect. Respect for what grows," he said, pointing to the golden fields. "Respect for what we can feed each other. And respect for coming together when the work is hard and the day is long." The next day, and the day after, they made it again. The day after that, families heard about it and wanted to learn. The fishermen from the coast came and they added fish and shrimp. But the true Paella Valenciana, the one born in those rice fields, kept its rabbit and beans. It kept its honest heart. Some tried to change it. Some added seafood, thinking it would be better, more fancy. But in Valencia, in the Albufera, people remembered Marina's father and his flat pan. They remembered the smell that called strangers into family. And they kept making the real Paella Valenciana, the one with rabbit, the one that tastes like respect. Year after year, it spread from the fields to the villages, from the villages to the cities, from Spain across the whole wide world. People everywhere wanted to taste it, to make it, to share it. But if you look closely, if you taste the true one, You will taste the fields, the rice, the rabbit. You will taste that moment when tired farmers came together and remembered how to be human. Every time you eat paella, you're eating a story. The story of a girl named Marina, the story of her father and a flat pan, the story of the day that something simple became something sacred. And so the old town also slowly fell asleep. Good night.